JD responding after Donald Trump had said he was a little annoyed that Zelensky told AP that this war was going to go on for a good long time. Here he is.
Do you still have hope for the mineral deal? Do you believe that the mineral deal can still be reached with Ukraine?
Yeah, I certainly do. And I think the president is still committed to the mineral deal. I think we've heard some positive things, but not yet, of course, the signature from our friends in Ukraine. But look, the mineral deal is a really important part of the president's policy. Number one, the American people have got to get some payback for the incredible financial investment we've made in this country. A lot of the aid that the Europeans have sent has come in the form of money that is getting repaid to them. Well, it's really ridiculous and frankly an insult to the American people that the Europeans are getting a better deal than the American people. The president is just trying to ensure that the American people get a fair deal while simultaneously ensuring we have access to some minerals and resources that are very important for the economy of the future.
Well, guess what? I'm hearing some good news. I'm hearing that this deal is happening. So breaking news right now, Donald Trump reaches deal with Ukraine. I'm going to put that on what we call our lower third. Reaches deal with Ukraine. That is what is going to likely be revealed tonight. So Zelensky, despite going on Fox and not able to apologize and, kind of being down in the dumps there because he had just gotten kicked out, literally kicked out of the White House, is now apparently coming back, hat in hand, tail between his legs, trying to fix this somehow, some way. It's really, really going to be an amazing joint address. And, you would think the likes of Chris Murphy or Ilhan Omar might want to be there to enjoy it. You would think, instead of taking your ball and going home, you know what? This is diplomacy in action. If we can get a deal and we actually secure the mineral rights, and hey, maybe it won't be so cost prohibitive for the American taxpayer. If you're shipping over $350 billion, that's a heck of a lot of money for a country that, frankly, let's be honest with each other, absolutely, positively cannot afford it, right? There's a lot of things we can't afford. A lot of things he wants to change, including the trade balances. This is fascinating to me. Of course, I'm an economic reporter, and so I think what he has done is really turned on its head how we have approached economics as a nation. He's saying enough with these trade deficits. This doesn't make any sense. Now, historically, people said, all right, let's just grow the pie and grow the pie and grow the pie for everyone, and then, everybody will be better off. Well, that doesn't really work if, say, you live in upstate New York and all of the jobs in your factory got shipped to Mexico. And sure, the company now gets their parts cheaper. And so shareholders benefit, those with capital benefit in that equation. But those who are the labor that actually make this stuff, they've actually get the raw end of that deal. And don't forget that this was Bill Clinton. And so the Democrats have championed some really kind of, for them, I'm just saying for them and historically who they're supposed to be, they're for unions and they're for the working class. And it's like, guys, you haven't been representing them in any way, shape, or form because you've allowed all of these jobs to move overseas. And there's been no looking out for the American worker, only for shareholders. And I get it. Shareholders are important too, right? We all want to make money. Look, I'll tell you, you'd be making money if you were subscribed to 76 Research. Check out those model portfolios. Wow. 1 year anniversary, guys. 1 year at 76. I started this a year ago with my friend Rob Horton, and I'm so excited about it. Those model portfolios, that's where the action is. That's what I'm telling you need to do. But if you're nervous and you just want to kind of get your toes wet, use code word dollar and get the 76 report. Okay, go to 76research.com. Look at that. I spelled it wrong. Can you believe that? I'm going to fix that right here, right now. 76research.com, or you can go to 76report.com. You can go to 76portfolios.com, because you got it. Shareholders are doing okay, and Donald Trump knows shareholders will continue to do okay in his economy, but he wants to make sure that the workers are doing okay as well. And that's where the tariffs and trade issues come in. I'll tell you who's not happy about this. Canada. Canada doesn't like getting lumped in with Mexico, because now Canada is having to pay 25% tariffs. So Trudeau turned around, and somehow he's still there. He did announce his resignation, but somehow he's still there. And he said, you know what? We're going to put our 25% tariffs in too. And he's really mad. He said he has a message, a very big message for one Donald Trump.
Now I want to speak directly to one specific American, Donald. In the over 8 years you and I have worked together, we've done big things. We signed a historic deal that has created record jobs and growth in both of our countries. We've done big things together on the world stage, as Canada and the US have done together for decades, for generations. And now we should be working together to ensure even greater prosperity for North Americans in a very uncertain and challenging world. Now, it's not in my habit to agree with the Wall Street Journal, but Donald, they point out that even though you're a very smart guy, this is a very dumb thing to do. We two friends fighting is exactly what our opponents around the world want to see. And now, to my fellow Canadians, I won't sugarcoat it. This is going to be tough, even though we're all going to pull together, because that's what we do. We will use every tool at our disposal so Canadian workers and businesses can weather this storm. From expanding EI benefits and making them more flexible to providing direct supports to businesses, we will be there as needed to help. But Canada, make no mistake, no matter how long this lasts, no matter what the cost, the federal government and other orders of government will be there for you.
Okay, we're glad, because you're socialists and everything. Sorry for all our Canadian listeners. Anyway, look, he's like, you're not doing enough. You're not doing enough on the border. You haven't been doing enough on the border. Trudeau's like flipping out. I mean, Trudeau and the Wall Street Journal, they're all on the same page. Okay, great. Well, the Wall Street Journal hasn't exactly been looking out for American workers. Let's be very frank, okay? They have not. They look out for big business and they look out for shareholders. And that's fine, okay? Like, we know their agenda. But their agenda is not going to be simpatico with that of one Donald J. Trump, who's saying we need to make sure that Americans can afford something, right? Like, especially as we move into this AI economy, in this crypto land economy, in this metaverse Web 3.0 economy, you want to make sure that people can still afford a lifestyle. And so that's where manufacturing comes in. That's where some of these other jobs come in. I keep saying, you shouldn't have to have a PhD to be able to make a decent living in the US. And this is where all of the trades that the left looks their little noses down on, right? Electricians and plumbers, heck, that's where the money is. In all seriousness, my former next door neighbor, I once lived at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, believe it or not, in New York City, the one that was down in Battery Park. And he was, it was a spectacular apartment. I was renting it. And the guy who lived next door, who had 2 floors and just an even better apartment, he was an electrician. He's an electrician. Turns out he did all the electrical wiring for Freedom Tower that they put in. So I'm just saying, don't look your noses down on that stuff. You can make a decent living in a small town, or you can become, the electrician to the Freedom Tower. I mean, there are some good professions out there, but because they're so snobby with all their academic nonsense, they don't realize that. Here's Trudeau saying he's going to sue him at the WTO. Good luck, buddy. Good luck. I mean, if we decide to put tariffs on and you decide to put tariffs on, I'm not sure that you're going to have much punch, shall we say, at the WTO, the World Trade Organization.
Today, we will also be challenging these illegal actions by filing dispute resolution claims at the World Trade Organization and through the USMCA. But in the meantime, our tariffs will remain in place until the US tariffs are withdrawn, and not a moment sooner. And should these tariffs not cease, we are in active and ongoing discussions with provinces and territories to pursue several non-tariff measures.
Okay. All right. So you go sue Canada. Good luck. JD made a very good point. He's like, look, until Canada actually starts controlling its border and what's coming across its border, we don't have a deal.
Look, the president's going to have conversations with the Canadians. We need to see real engagement on the fentanyl issue, on the drug issue. That is fundamentally the underlying element of these tariffs, is we think the Canadians have not been serious about stopping the drug trade. Now, people will sometimes say, well, if you look at the numbers, the Mexicans send way more fentanyl into the United States than the Canadians do. The Canadians have allowed a lot of fentanyl to come into the country. It's not a defense to say more has come from Mexico, because way too much has come from Mexico too. Great. Thank you all.
Okay, so they ran the gamut there. The last thing about...
Wow. So look, how much of an effect is this going to have on the economy? It's not great. I'll give you that. I mean, I'm fair. I'm fair. But there's certain pain or medicine that unfortunately I think that we kind of need to take, because for way too long we didn't actually do what we needed to do, right? So you've got a situation where the trade situation is totally unbalanced, and yes, jobs have gone to Mexico. Canada's not doing what it needs to do on the border, and Donald Trump is using the economic leverage that he has, as only he knows how to do, right? Nobody else was willing to use those tools in their arsenal. And so everybody's shocked, right? Because it might mean that you're going to take a near-term hit in terms of inflation. The thinking being that, okay, if a Canadian good is coming here, then the person who's selling that Canadian good will have to slap on that 25% tariff, and therefore the price goes up. But eventually, if these things stay put for a while, what seems to usually happen is that eventually it all levels out, and guess what else? You're forcing producers to seek alternative sources for their goods right here in the good old US of A. And so it encourages domestic production. And go look around the world. Everybody else is putting tariffs on our stuff. So why aren't we putting tariffs on theirs? I mean, it's like we're supposed to sit there and take it? I don't think so. Hey, Spirit-filled, thank you again. I love the American flags and all the emojis. And then there was one other that I wanted to get to, because UNC Andy was talking about how it was like repetitive mind control. When you saw those Democrats all spouting the exact same thing all at once, they all got the same script. They were all told to sit down in front of their selfies. Unbelievable. I agree with you. It's like they're trying to actually, but you know what? We caught them. So they didn't get away with that one. I have been under the weather. Some of you have heard it. Can you hear it still? I mean, my voice might be a little lower, but I'm not singing opera today, so we're okay. I'm just talking. I have been taking my Balance of Nature, and I think it's helping. Balanceofnature.com. I take it every single day. One of the wonderful sponsors on this show, helping us bring this content to you every single day for free. You know what? I'm finally taking my vitamins. And I know I say that a lot, but it's important for you to know that, because I didn't really believe in vitamins until I started taking these. And also when my doctor told me, Trish, your vitamin D levels are way too low. You really need to get out more. I'm like, okay, I better, or take a multivitamin. So I started taking Balance of Nature. I take the fruits and gummies. For those of you that care, I'm not gluten-free, but I have a little kid who is. So I mention it. They are also gluten-free, which is great. You can get them on their website. They're delivered to my house. It's 35% off with my code word Trish. You're helping the show. You're helping me. You're helping yourself by going to balanceofnature.com, and you get free shipping. I know Leslie already takes it, so they're not going to get her as another customer, but she's already been a long-time customer. There are thousands and thousands of testimonials. You don't have to take my word for it, or Leslie's, but it is pretty good stuff. So go check it out. Free shipping, balanceofnature.com with code word Trish, 35% off and money back guarantee.